Hello YouTube, my name is Sammy and welcome back to Sammy's Workshops. Today we have a pillow project. This is a very basic pillow tutorial and one that we will revisit in a future video in more detail. A couple of years ago, Anita Goodesign, an unpaid promotion, released an embroidery design set they called Celtic, part of their Mix and Match quilting series. For those of you who do their All Access program, it came out in August of 2015. I'll put a link to the individual pattern in the notes below. I made and shared photos of several pillows using these patterns that I made for family and friends, and many folks enjoyed those pillows and wanted to know how to make some of their own. So here's the original tutorial I wrote 3 years ago on how to make them. Before we get to today's project, let's take a moment to talk about workshop safety. Be sure to read, understand, and follow all of the safety rules that come with both your hand and power tools. Knowing how to properly operate your tools and following these safety rules can significantly reduce the risk of damage and/or personal injury. And of course, there are no more important safety rules than to avoid loose clothing, long sleeves, and to wear safety glasses, hearing and respiratory protection as needed. Now let's get to today's project. Pattern cover. Those are very traditional Celtic colors. These ones are stitched in silver, dark grays, and a little bit of light blue for a highlight on a medium blue Kona fabric, which is a color chosen by a family member and also by a couple of friends who really liked that tone. It gives the Celtic patterns a very different look when you change the colors. As I said, I will revisit changing colors on patterns in a future video. I will also provide a chart in that video for making pillows to use other size pillow forms. For today, we're just focusing on the 12-inch pillow form. So the next step that we're going to do here is for a 12 by 12 pillow form, the front face needs to be 13 inches by 13 inches. So when once we've got the pillow facing, then what we need to do is cut the fabric for the back of the pillow. Now, if you use a fat quarter for this, orient the fat quarter the long way. They're 18 inches wide and 22 inches long. So you want to cut 13-inch wide strip of the 18-inch width. So you're going to cut off a 5-inch strip and set it aside. Don't throw away those scraps. Keep them. There'll be a future video. We'll talk about what to do with those. So now you have a piece of fabric that's 13 inches wide and 22 inches long. Fold it in half long ways and cut it at the fold line. So now you have two pieces of fabric that are 13 inches wide and 11 inches long. Over at your ironing board, fold 1/2 inch over on the I don't know how to describe this. You take the shorter length of it, the 11-inch, and fold 1/2 inch over, press it, and fold 1/2 inch over again and press it, leaving you, once it's pressed, with a piece 13 inches wide, 10 inches long, and a double folded pressed edge. You're going to put that in your sewing machine and you're going to stitch a straight stitch across to keep those folds from coming apart. Make two pieces like this. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our pillow face and we're going to lay that on a table face up. We're going to take one of these pieces of fabric that we just cut the folded edge on, and we're going to lay it on top of 1/2 of the pillow face with the folded and stitched edge at the topmost, not at the very top of the thing, but in the middle of it, pointed towards the top. Then we're going to take the second piece and lay it on top of that one with the folded and stitched edge pointed towards the bottom. Line up all the corners and the side edges, and then we're going to pin all around the edges approximately 1.5 inches in from the edges. That way when you run your sewing machine around it to stitch these together, we don't run over pins. Not a good idea to run over pins. We're going to then stitch a single row all the way around the outside, leaving 1/4 to 3/8 inch seam allowance, just to tack things together. At this point, you can pull the pins out, and then I would suggest either going around the edge one more time with a 3-stitch bean stitch, or if your machine doesn't have one or you're not a fan of using it, then I would stitch around the outside edge at least 2 more times. Try and stay right on top of the stitches you already did. Let's see here. Then what you're going to want to do is trim to 1/4 to 3/8 inch seam allowance all the way around. If you came in a little further than that, clip the corners, cut them off at like about a 45-degree angle. Don't cut into your stitching, but cut really close to it. Now through the edge where the 2 pieces of the backing fabric are folded over each other, reach inside, turn the bag right side out, and then you can use your favorite turning tool to push the corners out. There are turning tools commercially available. I use a chopstick that I had left over from a Chinese meal. They're commonly available. They always give you one with the meal, and since I don't normally use them when eating Chinese food, they make for great turning tools back here in the shop. And that pokes the corners out. Then all that's left is to put your pillow form inside. Be real careful, it's going to be a little tight. And your pillow is done. Voila! If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like, subscribe, and also the alert bell to get notified of new videos being uploaded. I tend to release new videos on Wednesdays each week. You can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram. I have a website for patterns that I digitize and other drawings that I put in to download. I'll put links for those down below in the comments. Thanks again for stopping by. Come back and see me again real soon. Till next time, see ya.